Your home button works.
It will if I can see it.
Home right here.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Looks like our crowd's thinning out a little bit here, and I'm gonna just wrap up this afternoon with a little bit of an update on on-farm research. My name's John Thomas, and I'm the Crops and Water Extension Educator up in Box Butte County, up in Alliance, and we've got on-farm. We're doing on-farm research all over the Panhandle, even down into Colorado this year. But the On-Farm Research Network is part of the University of Nebraska, and it's clear across the state. So earlier this year, we had meetings in 6 different locations presenting the 2024 on-farm research results from clear across the state in these various locations. And it's supported by Nebraska Extension, Nebraska Soybean Checkoff, the Nebraska Corn Board, the Nebraska Dry Bean Commission, and the Nebraska Corn Growers Association. So we have a lot of support around the state for doing this research. And here's our crew that's the state support crew that works with us all and coordinates, tallies, prints a journal or prints the results each year in a book after it's done, after our research is done. There were between 60 and 70 studies done in 2024, covering, you can see the topics below: the cover crops, crop production, all these various things were the, oh, this is, things working. I'll just use what I was doing. Anyway, these are the various topics that were covered across the state and in the locations that you see. So some of our on-farm research studies in 2024, we looked at black-eyed pea populations down in this area. And we looked at a dry bean, the use of dry bean inoculants, and then a product called Pod Seal, which is a harvest aid. Most of my work that I do with dry edible beans is related to beans that are direct harvested, and so that's what we've been looking at. But anyway, so we had 3 studies, population studies that we had planned down in this area for 2024, and this was a population study in Dundee County, clear almost down to Kansas, and it was planted on June 16th and harvested on September 13th. The black-eyed pea variety was the California number 5. This was in 30-inch rows, and we had 4 replications out on this. And anyway, on the far left, our target populations were 60, 80, and 110,000. That's what we were shooting for. What we actually got, and these numbers are based on stand counts, early season stand counts, is 44,000, 61,000, and 79,500. So our populations were significantly less than what we had hoped for. This was dry land. Actually, it was an interesting situation. It was a dry land study. It had come out of just grass into corn the following year, then into the black-eyed peas this year in 2024. And incidentally, we didn't have much weed pressure because it had just come out of the grass and the corn. So, but under harvest loss, that third column, black-eyed peas, of course, hold those pods really high. It was very, nice low harvest loss situation. We didn't get any significant differences in the yield, as you see over there on the right-hand side. Not a real great yield that year, but there weren't significant differences between those populations that we saw in 2024. And this is a image of the field, aerial image of the field. And this was the harvest with the MacDon flex draper header, 35-foot flex draper, and it had an air reel on it. And so anyway, I'd mentioned that we had 3 studies last year. Well, the other 2 population studies were choked out by Palmer amaranth to where we could not even determine where our plots were, and we couldn't collect harvest data because of the Palmer amaranth infestation. This particular field, well, that photo's from September 2nd, but that field averaged 15.8 bushel per acre after it was harvested. Nevin?
The picture on the right looks like it cultivated.
This was 30-inch rows. Do you know, was this cultivated? I don't know if any of those two, if
just the fact that like it's so clean between the driving rows.
It does look like it was cultivated. I don't know. If it was, I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
But that's a good observation.
Oh,
they did some hand weeding.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned that we did an inoculation study. Typically, we don't inoculate dry beans in areas where beans are grown with some regularity. But this particular grower was interested in trying an inoculant. And so we actually did a study on his property or on his farm a couple years. And that inoculant basically helps that bean to fix nitrogen through a rhizobium species that's in the inoculant, and that can increase yields. It could, and not a very expensive treatment. It was, just a little bit over $2 an acre for that inoculant. So we went ahead and we tried this for a couple of years. This particular inoculant was Exceed. It was a dry bean legume inoculant. And that was put on at 82.5 ounces per 1,500 pound seed. And I won't try to pronounce the name of the specific rhizobium that it was, but the name's up there. And anyway, it was put on the dry seed in the planter box. The inoculant was blended in the planter box. Okay, so planted on June 5th, harvested September 18th. This study was in 15-inch drilled rows with the Eiger Great Northern variety. 6 replications in this particular case. And at the bottom there, we had under fertilizer, he put on 20 pounds of N in a dry spread. And then there was a residual of 53 pounds there in the field. So there was 73 pounds total available nitrogen, and which is less than the optimal, probably according to Bijesh, the 100 to 120. So we were looking for fields that had a little less nitrogen to see if this inoculant did us any good. So in the 2024 study, which was last year, we saw a significant yield boost, not a lot, but about 3 pounds, 3 bushel per acre. It was a significant yield increase with the inoculant, and it also had a significantly positive marginal net return. And again, that was with 73 pounds available nitrogen to that bean crop. So this is just some data from 2023, the same inoculant that was used the year before. We again had a significant bump in yield, 2 bushel per acre, and a little bit of a significant marginal net return increase. And so in that particular year, there was a total of 55 pounds of available nitrogen available for the beans. And so again, it was in a nitrogen deficient situation. The inoculant did give us a little bump in yield. So with people trying to scale back on nitrogen use and this kind of thing, there could be a place for using inoculant. And again, it's a pretty inexpensive treatment. And this was just out harvesting that inoculant study. The pod seal, Miller pod seal is a product that kind of puts a coating on the pod. You spray it out with it at the time of the desiccation, and it helps keep moisture from going in and out of the pods. It can be valuable with morning dew or light rain or maybe even snow type of situations. The reason we were trying to use it, and this grower wanted to try to use it, is see if it would toughen up that pod a little bit for direct harvest and reduce the harvest loss with the direct harvest. And so this study was planted on June 10th, harvested the September 27. It was the Great Northern variety Virgo, 4 replications. Pod seal was put on with the desiccant. It had this before harvest. I'm going to wait a minute here. Go back one. Okay, in 2024, no significant differences across the board using the pod seal. Didn't have any effect on yield. Harvest loss was about the same, and so the pod seal didn't seem to do any good in 2024. I'm going to sort of throw up the 2023 data. In terms of final yield, there were no significant differences in the final yield. However, that year there was a hail on October 2nd up around Alliance. In the pod seal, I went out and did some counts in the field of hail loss on the ground. And the pod seal had significantly less hail loss. Again, we're not talking about a lot, 0.43 bushel per acre loss compared to just a little over a bushel acre per acre loss in the check. But it seemed to do a little bit of good in that late season hail that we had there. And so, but no significant difference in the final yield, and actually no significant difference in the harvest loss either. And that the harvest loss is a little higher than I like to see it. So this was the pod seal study harvesting that. We've done varieties trials with several varieties of beans with direct harvest. And I was going to just throw this data up there. It's not last year's, but in 2019 and 2021, this is 2 years data with these three Great Northern varieties. We came up with Virgo had the highest yield, bushel per acre, averaging 45.1 bushel per acre over 2 years, and Andromeda came in third place in that year. And it also reflected in the net marginal return. Then a couple years in our varieties trials with Pintos, and these are just a single year's data, but in 2022, Rattler was our top yielder in our variety trial, and Cowboy came in second, and then this numbered variety was third place in yield. And the harvest loss a little bit higher than I like to see in the Pintos. Pintos normally have a better upright structure than the Great Northerns. And in 2023, again, Rattler got our best yield, and followed by Monterey in 2023. So that's just a little bit of a look back on some of our variety trials that we did. And we actually have another variety trial going this year. And I'm going to take a minute of your life to watch this little video. This is the variety Pegasus, and it's this year's crop, actually. No, we won't run that again. Anyway, maybe my music makes watching beans exciting. Anyway, that was this year's growth up to August 20th. And so we'll keep those cameras going clear through harvest, and you can see things like you watch the emergence and see when the row closure is, and you can watch the weeds grow and get big in the field. And it's kind of interesting. Sometimes you pick up things watching these videos that you don't anticipate. So also down in Colorado this year, we have in Phillips County, we have a black-eyed pea population study. So far, all is well with the study. Our target population down there was 60, 90, and 120,000. And so we did the early season stand counts, and we're looking at about 55,000, 77, and 109,000 as actual counts. So we're interested to follow that through harvest and see how our populations turn out. Also this year, we're doing another inoculation study, another pod seal study, and then we're doing a study that Samantha's doing down here with indigo biological seed treatment. And we're going to see there's a lot of products available anymore, and we test some of them to see if they're actually worth using. And so those are some of the things that we're having progress this year. So with that, just want to thank all the sponsors again. Greatly appreciate it. I've worked with Gary and Samantha on this on-farm research for years. Our growers, we greatly appreciate you guys that participate. And we're always interested in taking up some more on-farm research. If you have an idea or something you'd like to do, we'll work with you and set up a study where we can look at and analyze the data and so forth. So any questions as we close today? We'll turn some lights on, and we would greatly appreciate it if you fill out those evaluations, and then head for home. Thanks, everybody. Oh, no wonder it didn't work.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah, heat and batteries. I just looked and it's like, whoa, I thought this was. You can if you filled it out. Okay. You can give them to me or leave them on the table. Who's the one?
I dropped it.
And the batteries fell out.
I dropped it. That's why. And then I couldn't find it, so I just put it back, and I was.
No problem. Anyway, she found the batteries.
Right at the beginning of my presentation. Well, I don't know where the batteries went. Yeah, oh well, whatever. Bye, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
For coming. Okay, so what do we need? What do we need to do now?
Now we can go to Yeah, you can just stop. Wait, no, go to more. And then pause, stop recording, hit stop recording.